it. I mean, it's transformative. It will transform your life. It will, but again, you, like Laura said, you have to be ready. You do have to really want this. Don't just be, tinkering, but you don't, it's okay if you don't have a niche yet. It's okay if you don't know your avatar. It's okay if you're not even really sure exactly what it is. But if you're committed to wanting to help people and wanting to really go on this path, then this course will help you figure all of that out. It will help you narrow that down and just go out and conquer the world, I guess. Yeah. So my experience with the Soulpreneur intensive, experience here with this course, I don't know where to start. I don't know where to start because it was so life changing. And that's what I mean by that. It was so life changing. So I have done another course previously. I've been trying to do something here for like a year to a year and a half. I've been really stuck on trying to figure out how I can help other people, and what my purpose is. And I had no clue. I had no clue. And through the Soulpreneur course with Laura, it's just been a godsend. So I actually went from not even having a niche, because I was all over the place with niches. Like, do I help people with relationships? Do I help them with spirituality? Do I help them with limiting beliefs, manifestation? What do I help these people with? Like, I was all over the place. And then I was able to narrow it down, and really I didn't have to. I mean, a lot of it just goes along with all of it. You know what I mean? Like the relationships and manifestation and limiting beliefs, like it all ties in. And Laura helped me see that. Laura also, if for, she saw me for me. And that was something that I've talked a lot about. She saw me for me. It was the first time I had felt that somebody saw me for me. And so she gave me that encouragement to be able to step outside of my fear, to be able to embrace the fear, really, not really stepping outside of it, and not really pushing it aside or anything, like being able to embrace it and just step into that power. So I was able to develop a niche. She took me step by step on how to go from that, how to develop an entire program, and from step by step. And it was freaking intense. Like, it was an intense program. And not in the business side. I mean, the business side alone is crazy, because then there's like the sales. She gives you a whole sales script to go by, the content, the lead magnets, the whole thing that you go through. But it was also, even like on a emotional and personal level, the experience I got and being able to break through limiting beliefs, like the downloads from spirit kept coming, the limiting beliefs like started just, I mean, it was kind of intense. It was intense because they were coming up so frequently, but I was able to break through those. And I also was able to form this community of people through Laura's help, these other women who were in the program with me, that I was able to really rely on. And I've actually made lifelong friends. Like, one of the girls I literally talk to every single day. We voice message at least an hour to 2 hours every day. We're just voice messaging each other. We've became so close. So I like met my soul tribe, and we actually are able to go with each other. So it's not, my point of all of that is, it's not, it's about a business. It's about helping soulpreneurs and light workers, like, create a business, but it's so much more than that. It's really just, it's a community. It's somebody cheering you on. It's somebody who is actually there, who sees you and sees the potential that you have that you don't even see in yourself. And so it was all of that wrapped up into one. And now I'm like tearing up. So anyway, that's my experience. So I hope you can see me okay,
Yeah.
because like the
Yeah,
light.
I
Okay.
can. I can. You're gonna
Okay.
make me cry because I
I'm
totally
so
felt that
sorry.
too.
Like,
Like,
seriously.
yeah, so like my experience was like just like yours because I was learning with you guys. And I'm like, oh my gosh,
Yeah.
Chrissy, like you have such an amazing product and you have such an amazing presence. And I think that we don't see our energy, right? Like we're in our energy all
Mm-mm.
the time. And
Mm-mm.
so when we're
Yeah.
like, when other people see our energy and we can reflect it back, it's like, wow.
Mhm.
But also the community, like as hard
Yeah.
and intensive as the learning and the development and the like presenting you guys with like new information every day and like chop, 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 right? Chop wood, chop wood, chop wood, chop wood,
It was
carry water.
crazy.
Yeah. But like I felt like we all had each other's backs,
Hmm.
and I knew that like you guys were giving 100% and I was giving 100%. And it was just like
Hmm.
a really cool thing to have as far as like
Yeah.
community goes, because it made all the
Absolutely.
hard work worth it. Like, Like seriously.
Seriously, yeah.
Yeah. So one of the questions that I wanted to ask you is about the community aspect, because that's one of the things I'm really trying to grow for light workers and
Mhm.
soulpreneurs. It doesn't just have to be for soulpreneurs, because light workers too, right? There's a lot of light workers that are already in a system,
Mhm.
that are already shining their light in a system.
Mhm.
So what is your take on like the importance of the collective or the soul tribe or the community? Like, can you share a little bit about your thoughts
Yeah.
on that?
As far as the community goes and how important that is, I think it makes all the difference in the world, honestly. Because if I was out here doing this, even though Laura had my back and all of this, she's building this program and she's, doing all of these things. And I don't want to like be voice messaging her every day for an hour. So it was just having these other people, this community that was all on the same path as me. And a lot of us were in different areas. Like some of us were just starting out, other people already had some clients. It didn't matter because it was a community of like-minded individuals all bringing their own flavor to all of this. And if I didn't have that community, I honestly don't know how it would have been. Like that was a huge part of it. And I know with Laura, she had the community and the Kajabi. I was not as active in there as I probably should have been. I'm just not as used to that platform. But I did make like the community, it transferred to my phone. Like I have people, my phone, and there was, like I said, there was girls in there who were a little bit ahead of me. And so that has been also a godsend because they've also been able to help from their experiences in the last year, because they were not very far ahead of me. It's just like a year difference there. And so yeah, so being able to build that community and being able to build that within Kajabi or wherever you build it, even if it's just exchanging numbers or whatever, I think that you need that. I think you need that because what I realized, and I think you could attest to this, Laura, but what I realized was like building a business is one of the, I don't know how to say this. It brings up all of the old beliefs. It brings up everything. It brings up everything that's underneath the surface that you don't even know is there. And so you need the community of like-minded individuals because they're going through it too. Like they're also having all of that stuff come up. And so you can kind of talk to each other and be there for each other, as well as building the business on top of all of that. So yeah, that's what I would have to say about that.
Yeah, and I 100% agree. And I saw something had kind of popped into my space recently of like how building a business is actually part of a spiritual practice. And
Yes.
everything like came like all these puzzle pieces. I'm like, that's so true, because all of these limiting beliefs that we weren't faced with pop up, and
Yeah.
all of these
Yeah.
like bridges we hadn't crossed yet, and all of these, just thoughts or like, wounds or whatever we're presented with. And we can actually look at that. And then it's just another avenue where we can use that to expand, right? By
Mhm.
by looking at those things. Um, but like as far as the collective goes, I found it super helpful for you guys that there were people on different levels, because you can kind of see
Yeah.
where you're going, right? Where you're going to be
Mhm.
in a year. And then I saw that you guys were all helping each other out. And I think at the end of the day, my goal really is like, it doesn't matter to me what platform you guys are all on, because I want to help the light workers and the soulpreneurs to have the community. Like it doesn't matter if you're texting or on Kajabi or in the
Yeah.
chat or voice messaging. I just want to help people come together in that way, as authentically as possible, and build those friendships, because it has been a huge support for me just to have you guys like telling me
Aw.
like yes, this was good, or what are you talking about,
Aw.
Laura? We don't understand. Like it helped me develop, right?
Mhm.
um so I'm learning, even though I'm more like a presenter and a teacher, I'm still learning. I'm still a student of all of this,
Yeah.
so yeah, I don't care where the community is. I just want you guys to, I just want anybody and everybody to just come together as support, because I find like looking out into the online space and into the world, and I know I've talked to you about this before, that the light workers really are spread out all over the globe intentionally.
Yes.
So it's like,
Yes.
how can we all come together, right?
Yeah.
How can we all come together? And that's my goal, is to bring us all in together into a space to where we can actually just nurture the relationships that we find,
Oh, yeah.
and nurture the collective so we can all rise at the same time, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I want to ask you about the action like homework in the course a little bit and get your take on that because I was forced to like, well, I'll say this. When I learned business, I realized that there were some things that I wasn't doing and I thought I was doing, right? Like
Mhm.
I was maybe stewing in my thoughts a lot, but it wasn't until I started taking like action on building and pulling from myself, like you guys kind of did in the homework, that I saw things changing for me. So can you talk a little bit about that?
Abso-freaking-lutely. Because the action part of this course is really what will transform your life. As I said, and I don't want to compare, but I have taken other programs before, and there wasn't that. And so I literally did nothing. Spent a lot of money, did nothing for a year. The action, the homework. So, along with having Laura as your cheerleader, as long as having this community, as long as all of the other things I've already talked about, the action part is what really will transform your life because that is the part where, you're sitting down and you're having to write out this stuff. I mean, when it comes to the avatar homework, like that was rough. And I still didn't get all of those questions answered because it is like a long sheet that you're really getting into the head of the people that you want to serve. That was just one that really stands out to me, and every week I think there was homework every week. And it was intense. It was intense. Like it's not for the faint of heart. Obviously, like you have to really want to do this, and you don't have to do the. I mean, everybody has their own free will, but like you want to, if you don't do it, you're not gonna transform to the next level. And so that was what I have to say about the action portion. And so, and of course, I didn't want to be the only one not doing it. So it was accountability too, because like you don't want to be the only one to show up and be like, sorry, I did nothing. The action was really, and I think I told you this before, Laura, too. The action and the homework is what really made everything come to light because you have to sit down with your computer. You have to, I mean, there's a whole section where you literally build out your course and you literally like have your action steps. You have all of the things right in there on whatever form. I use Google Docs, but whatever you want to use. And that's really and that's where all the limiting beliefs were coming up and like the ego, like you can't do this. And then you're messaging the community and like, this is what's coming up and all the stuff. So yeah, it's really transformational. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that a couple things. When we're at that 5D space too long, go through the spiritual awakening and all this spiritual stuff, and then
Yeah.
we're just like floating in the ether, and then we realize that we need to come back down to earth, and then but then we're supposed to bring all this stuff with us, right? And we get these
Mhm.
downloads and it's like, what do we do with them all, right? Um and then we realize that action is the physical expression of like doing stuff, right? Like doing
Mhm.
and getting things done, and everything in creation
Mhm.
is because people did stuff, like they took action. And I felt like that was what I struggled with, was knowing what to do, right? Like
Yeah.
I'm willing to do stuff, just tell me what, because I we're lost, right? It's like just tell me what to do.
Yeah.
And I know the course was so intensive. I am very aware that the course was so intensive, and it came to the end of the 90 days where I was like thinking, um, you guys are going to have an ongoing education because everybody's at different spaces, right?
Mhm.
So lead magnets and all that stuff, because I did read your text that you typed out. Lead
Mhm.
magnets and all that stuff, we'll go over in depth over that stuff when you're there, because it'll be much more
Yeah.
effective for you to go over when you're there, as an
Yeah.
example. um but yeah, the doing part, and the action part, and I like to call it like the 3D part, is it's kind of like the science of business, right? And then the art is
Mhm.
like our development and our own energy
Mhm.
and our creativity and everything that we're putting into it. Um, and I got to kind of watch you guys do all of that in your own way, which is really exciting, right? And then create your own things,
Yeah.
and that was really
And
amazing.
I do want to say something because I keep talking about it being intensive, and I want to make clear that I mean that in a good way. Like it's intensive because it needs to be intensive. Like if it wasn't intensive, I would not have a program right now. If it wasn't intensive, like I probably wouldn't even have a niche. I wouldn't have an avatar. I wouldn't have any of the things that I have right now. So I made the time out of my schedule to make sure I could do the intensive work that had to be done, because you're gonna have to do it if you want to get to that place. So I just wanted to make that clear.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. And
Okay.
yeah, no, that makes sense. But how do you, and this might be a silly question, so just answer it as best as you can, but how do you feel this will work for other people that are kind of swirling in that space of maybe buying courses and or not doing, or like maybe had some similar experiences that you had? Like, how do you think this will work for them?
So how do I think this would work for other people? Obviously, I can't speak for them. I think if they come into this course and they do the work, again, I'm going to go back to that. If they do the homework and they take the action that they need to take, I think it will work the way it did for me, the way it did for every other woman in this program. Because I know, what, like I said, I'm just not saying names right now because I know you're going to talk to them all, but I mean, the one I talk to her every single day, and I see, I see how much she's transformed her life just since I met her, and really got close with her probably back in March, April. So I haven't known her very long, and I've literally watched her transform, like watched it. I mean, I'm not, she lives in a different state, but I watch it. So I've seen it with other people in the course, other women that I also talk to. I've seen how much it has transformed their lives, because I talk to each one of them outside now. Like we'll text occasionally and stuff. And so I think that it could work for everybody that way, as long as you are doing the work and as long as you don't fight when the limiting beliefs start to come up, because they're going to come up as you start to build. Don't fight that. Just let that happen, and just lean on your community and talk about it and do your best to get all that out and just keep going. Then it's going to work.
Yeah, that's awesome. And it sounds like you have to really be ready to want to transform to this
Yeah.
level of your life too, right? Like you can't just be contemplating it or tinkering around with the idea. You have to actually be like committed to taking your life to the next level,
Mhm.
right? Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah, because it is, it's a journey like everything in life. It's an
Mhm.
experience, and it's like a path, but it's all like holistically inclusive of everything that you're building and doing in your life, but there's never an end to it, so
Mhm.
it's pretty cool to kind of see how how you are all, the whole group and the whole community that took this course, we're all on this journey together now, we're all on this path, and we're all
Yeah.
yeah, like we're all like, okay, let's go serve people, let's expand in the ways that we
Mhm.
can to our highest expression too, right? Like
Yeah.
your highest expression and your personal
Mhm.
freedom and all those things
Mhm.
that you're working hard for. So that's awesome. Well, I think that's all my questions. Is
Okay.
there anything else that you wanted to offer other than what I asked you? I think you've covered everything really well.
I think I covered a lot of it. I mean, it's transformative. It will transform your life. It will, but again, you, like Laura said, you have to be ready. You do have to really want this. Don't just be, tinkering, but you don't, it's okay if you don't have a niche yet. It's okay if you don't know your avatar. It's okay if you're not even really sure exactly what it is. But if you're committed to wanting to help people and wanting to really go on this path, then this course will help you figure all of that out. It will help you narrow that down, and just go out and conquer the world, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's all I have
awesome.
to
And are you,
say.
yeah, thank you. Are you excited about the ongoing monthly calls that we're doing just to kind of keep everybody moving forward in the
Yes.
best way that I can, right? Because everybody's at different spots. So
Yeah.
that's something I'm
Yeah.
still like, I'm really excited to see how the universe is going to play that out, because I'm like, well, she's here and they're here and
Mhm.
they're all at very different spaces, but like I can't see why we can't all just keep going, right? Like we can't all just move along, even though
Yes.
we're on the path, we're all at different spaces, which I think is a blessing too, right? Because we can constantly learn and find out what the best practices are, and grab,
Absolutely.
yeah, yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah.
Yeah. The ongoing, um, by, or what is it, twice a month or whatever we're
Hmm.
doing. Yeah. So the ongoing support that we're going to be having for this is, and that's pretty cool. And especially because it's not again, like Laura told us last week, because I think some of us were a little nervous because we're like, oh my gosh, like are we doing this again? And then she's like, this, we've already did the intensive part. Like you've already, that was intense and you've already made it through that. This is more like just ongoing support. So like, if we're not able to show up, which hopefully I mean, I hope to be able to be there a lot of the time, but there's going to be times that I'm not going to be able to. And Laura's fine with that. Everybody's fine with that. Like I might not be able to show up one night if I have something to do, but like, or if it's not something that I'm where I'm at yet, but it's nice. And also I want to say this too. It's also nice, Laura, because you are also kind of going through this too. Like like you said, you're growing too. And so Laura here is being able to bring us to what she's doing. Like this is what I'm working on right now, and this is what's working. And so it's ongoing support for us. So we're all at these different stages, and it's all just a supportive community and it's accountability. And so I think that's going to be great. I think just having that ongoing support is really needed because a lot of these programs, I'm sorry I'm rambling, but I have to say a lot of these programs, you do first of all, a lot of these programs, they don't hold your hand like this. Like Laura has freaking held our hands and really just taken us each little step of the way. And a lot of programs don't do that. And then to have that hand holding even after the program's done. So after we've all created a program at this point, we all have a program, but we're still trying to build the business and we're still trying to get the clients and all of the things. And so having that support in that stage is also very important. And so it's amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, that's helpful because what I'm doing is a little bit more ahead of where everybody else is. And I want to be there, obviously, so that I can
Exactly.
show you
Yeah.
guys. But like, I don't want you guys to
Mhm.
get overwhelmed either. So that's actually helpful to know that is helping you see, like, this isn't something that you might be working on now, but it's something that you can think of a little bit later, or, what's
Yeah,
working and what I've
absolutely.
tried, or my research has concluded
Hmm.
that, this works best. Because even in this program, everything changes in the world, right? So
Hmm.
it's like now we find out that people want to know exactly how long something's going to take them, right? Not that that's true, but that's just an
Yeah.
example of the world constantly changing and
Hmm.
us always evolving as people and our business too. So that's
Yeah.
actually really helpful because I also really want to just continue with the community, and build the community
Yeah.
because there's so many people we haven't met yet, right? That are
Yeah.
like looking for Chrissy. They're like, "Where are you? I need your help." Or
Yeah.
they're looking for anybody that has a program, which by the
Hmm.
way, I wanted to mention this too because I consider you all light workers and solopreneurs, and it
Hmm.
was really cool to see other light workers assist each other in the group, right?
Yeah.
Like set up sessions and clear blocks and
Yeah.
those divine interventions that I was like my breath was taken away. I was like, that is just freaking amazing. Like I knew everybody individually, but I never pictured the interactions of everybody coming together and then serving each other like you guys have.